Hello, I'm John Norton, and today in A Lazy Gardener, the smart way to grow vegetables and fruit, we're going to be looking at succession of beans. So these are snake beans, and you can see they grow to be a bean about, well, they call them yard long, so they can grow up to 1 meter long. The seeds, as we can see here, are pretty tiny small seeds. And what we're going to do is, and what I've done over here, is we soak them in water overnight. So you soak them, they about double in size, and they absorb all that water, and it starts the germination. So every bean out of our 10 beans there is already triggered to start germinating along there. So what we've done with the soil, and what I did a few weeks ago, was I put in compost, dolomite lime, some chicken and sheep pellets, and just a small amount of this nitrophosphor fertilizer. So we've put in about a cup per square meter, a couple of cups, half a cup per square meter, and this would be only a few grams, like 30 or 40 grams. So we've dug all that into the soil, and then we as soon as the seeds had been soaked, we planted them in here, and within 2 days all of them had germinated and started to grow. The advantage of that is that they are all even, so we haven't got them coming at different times and being difficult to grow. So notice that we've only done a half of this section here, and the idea is that beans, you notice that we've got this framework here, and the beans grow really big. That's 2.4 meters high at the top, 8 feet, and our beans will easily reach that in the time that they start producing beans. There are a few tricks, and if you have ever grown beans, you may discover that as they grow, they just keep growing and growing and growing and growing, and they won't flower. And if they don't flower, they don't have any bean pods, so there's nothing to eat. And what you'll discover is that your beans are actually short of this chemical here, which is potassium. And this chemical is, this one here is potassium sulfate. You can use any potassium. And what we do is, if you notice that they're getting up to here, no flowers, you just put your tablespoon, 1 or 2 tablespoons, into a watering can with 10 litres of water, stir it all up, water it backwards and forwards, and almost like magic, in 2 or 3 days your beans up here will start flowering, and then you'll see this amazing growth of beans. Now the thing about beans, they are very heavy, and the plant, as they're growing here, I actually have to get nylon string and tie it around them because they just fall off. So if you have a framework that's just made out of bamboo, for instance, it's actually quite hard to manage because they'll blow over in the wind. So the advantage of a raised bed garden like this is the timber on the side, you can just come along and screw our wood here. So this is 100 by 50 tannalized timber, screw it to it, and we reuse this framework over and over and over again. It can go into another bed. So it only takes a quarter of an hour, 20 minutes to put up, and it's really strong. So our beans are growing up here, and as they get to the top, we're picking them. The amazing thing about snake beans is that they're a long bean, but they're not coarse. They're actually smaller than your little finger, so quite a round, quite narrow bean, and quite crisp. And if you ever go into a Chinese restaurant, they're the beans that they have there, where they do beans in garlic. And at our home, that's what we do. We are very keen on doing beans stir-fried with onion, garlic and ginger and a little bit of soy sauce. It's remarkable, really lovely. And one of the really important things that beans are is that they're a legume. So whereas all these other crops, actually you've got to put your nitrogen onto it, whether it's organic or chemical, but with your beans, they will actually suck the nitrogen in the gas in the air and produce the little nodules on the root will actually give the protein for our bean to grow. So one of the really good things about that for sustainable gardening is that we are not using artificial things. We have a lower carbon footprint, and for us as people eating them, we'd be picking about half a kilogram a day. And these big long beans, if you grow too many, like we grew all the way along there, you'll end up with trying to freeze them and give them away. You run out of plastic bags, and not very good way to use them. But if you have a small amount here, and then what we'll do is, so these will grow like anything, they'll produce for quite a while, and in late February when the ground is still hot, more than 20 degrees Celsius, we'll actually do our next lot of little beans like this, soak them, and plant that other half of the garden over there. So as these are finishing, the new ones are coming on, and we will still be picking beans in June. So they're quite tropical and tender when they're young, but they're actually quite vigorous and strong when they're older. Looking at how do we grow berries the smart way. So this is a blackberry, and we'll have a look at both this one and a boysenberry up there. But what I want to show you as we take the net off, that we have a net on because the birds just love these berries. So this berry here is called Navajo, and it's about the only blackberry that's sweet. We've tried a lot of other ones and they're pretty sour. So you can see when a berry goes from red to purple to black, and then if it's easy to pull off, yeah, and that was, and we'll do a taste. That is really good. I was not going to show you that just yet, because I want you to see that if you have a look down here, this is actually a blackberry Navajo growing from that one there. So the roots from that have just grown along and popped up here. And people think, well, this is a problem that's going to take over your garden. Actually, all you do is dig it out and give it away to another good friend. In actual fact, this variety Navajo costs $40 to buy. So each time you get a new plant like that, you're actually giving them $40 worth of plant. The way that we've actually grown this one, look, we'll come back again, it's raining. Think about growing any berries, and these are a berry that is ready in January, and we'll take you up to have a look at Brule Boysenberry, which is ready in December. So our boysenberries, all of December, we're picking boysenberries, and we have a succession for the next variety. So this variety, Navajo, comes, so today is January the 1st, and we'll be picking all of January of this variety. But a lot of people grow them, and they just grow them against a fence or something like that, and find that it's a lot of work. So a lazy, smart gardener will actually use wires. So you probably notice along here that as they grow, they actually twine around the wires. So you can see what I do is I just twine them around the wires, and hardly any work in it. Just start them off and they wind along the wire. And then you notice we've got a double wire down here for the low down ones. Got another wire here. Here they are growing, twining along, and they send all these little canes off, these little shoots with all these lovely berries in them. Here's another berry, and they grow from each of the wires. So that's about half a meter, another half a meter higher, another half a meter higher, and then one at the top. And so if you're growing them on wires like this, it's not a lot of training. Just let them grow along it. And what we'll do is when we're finished picking all these, and these will be finishing in the end of January, we actually prune off anything that's all kind of dying and finished its growing. But you notice all of these really very vigorous looking shoots, they are going to be next year's growing wood. So we then just train them along there. Here's one here, a really good example. Just train it along that wire. Use little clips like this, and I'll just show you a clip. So these are kiwi fruit clips. Make it very easy just to clip everything on. Take a few seconds and we wind them all out like that, and you have your crop. So the other thing is putting a net on is not as simple as it looks. And our experience has been that you put the net over it and then the birds come along, they sit on the net and peck all your fruit. So that's why this wood is up on the top here. We put a frame around the top, so when the net is over it, the wood actually keeps the net away from the fruit, so the birds can't get to the fruit. One of the problems with birds getting on it is they'll pick almost everything that looks even slightly ready. So if they get in, and sometimes our birds get in through underneath the net, and they'll go around and pick a whole lot of fruit, and you end up losing quite a lot of your crop. So these nets we've owned for probably 12 years, and we can just reuse them time after time. So our nets, not a big expense for us to do. So that's growing a succession of berries, and they're easy to grow, absolutely delicious, and easy to freeze. When you freeze them, they go in, they just come out look like they've been freeze dried and separate really easily. So that's growing berries in succession.